Burgers, Bloody Marys, breakfast burritos, you name it, just a few drops of Tabasco and boom, flavor upgrade unlocked. With its signature kick of heat and a tangy twist, this legendary hot sauce has been spicing up American cuisine for nearly 150 years. Every year, over 160 million bottles of Tabasco are sold around the world. And to make that happen, you need a lot of peppers. Behind every bottle is a careful process handled by skilled artisans. But how exactly is this iconic hot sauce made? In this video, we're diving into the fiery journey of how 700,000 bottles of Tabasco are crafted every single day. Let's check it out. If you've ever drizzled Tabasco sauce over your eggs, your breakfast sandwich, or even your morning bowl of pho, congrats. You've had a taste of something that started on a tiny island called Avery, just west of New Orleans, Louisiana. It's the birthplace of the world's most famous hot sauce, the OG version. Tabasco is made from Tabasco peppers, small, red, fiery little things packed with flavor. But you know, that's just the beginning. The brand has since turned up the heat with spicy new favorites like blazing habanero, smoky chipotle, and fresh green jalapeno. The ingredients may vary, but one thing never changes: bold flavor and uncompromising quality. The mastermind behind this legendary sauce? That would be Edmund McIlhenny. Back in the day, he started by soaking peppers in vinegar and aging the mix for 3 years, a happy accident that led to the perfect aging time. Through a whole lot of trial and error, he refined the recipe, and get this. Over a century later, the production process is still nearly identical to how it all began. Once Tabasco started getting attention, McIlhenny took a bold step. He shipped sample bottles to food distributors all across the United States. At the time, there was nothing else like it on the market. And just like that, Tabasco didn't just launch a sauce, it kick-started a global hot sauce revolution. Even in an age of high-tech, high-speed production, Tabasco has stuck to its roots. While others chase shortcuts, this brand honors tradition, holding tight to the high standards set by its founder. That kind of loyalty to legacy, well, you don't see it every day, especially not after more than 100 years. Years ago, Tabasco, the pepper behind the iconic hot sauce, actually came from deep within the lush rainforests of the Amazon in South America. They may only be about an inch long each, but don't let their size fool you. These tiny peppers pack heat, 6 times hotter than a jalapeno. Today, about 98% of all Tabasco peppers are grown in Central and South America, where the weather's perfect and the growing seasons are longer. But no matter where they're planted, it all starts in one special place, Avery Island, Louisiana. Selecting Tabasco pepper varieties, that's the heart and soul of Tabasco and the birthplace of every single seed grown around the world. Here's the cool part. The company's president personally handpicks the best pepper plants to use as seed stock. It's all based on experience and a sharp eye, looking for plants with vibrant, healthy fruit, strong resistance to pests, and that perfect layered leaf structure. The best ones get tagged with a simple string, marking them as elite. From there, the finest seeds are collected and sent to over 1,000 Tabasco farms worldwide. Peppers are grown and cared for in Central and South America to make the most of those longer seasons. Once harvested, they're shipped back to Louisiana for processing before heading off to fans all across the globe. And every fiery little pepper starts its life as a tiny white flower. They're self-pollinating, so no bees or bugs needed. Just a soft breeze is enough to kick things off. Once pollinated, the petals close up and the fruit begins to form. First green, then yellow, then orange, and finally that perfect vibrant red that lets you know this pepper means business. Tabasco peppers aren't picked just whenever they're only harvested when they hit that perfect shade of red. And, well, how do the farmers know it's just right? They use a tiny red wooden stick, an old-school color guide that's been passed down through generations. If the pepper matches the stick, it's ready to go. If not, it stays on the plant a little longer until it's just right. Now, these peppers might be prettier than most, but they're also way smaller and way pickier. And here's the thing. No fancy machines are involved in this step. Every single pepper is hand-picked Yep, old-fashioned elbow grease. It's labor-intensive, sure, but it guarantees only the best of the best make it into the sauce. Each year, Tabasco harvests around 10 million pounds of peppers. Once the peppers are picked, they're rushed to the processing facility. There they're sorted again. Any underripe peppers, leftover stems or leaves get tossed. Then comes a deep cleaning process in giant bubbling wash tanks, with high-pressure water jets to blast off dirt even from the tiniest nooks and crannies. And then, just hours after being plucked from the fields, the real magic begins. The peppers are ground up and mixed with salt to create what's known as mash. This thick, spicy paste is the foundation of every bottle of Tabasco sauce. Even the mixing ratio is precise. For every 1 gallon of crushed peppers, they add 1 heaping spoonful of salt. And during the grind, technicians tweak the speed and timing to control the mash's texture, depending on the specific flavor profile they're going for. That kind of attention to detail, right from step one, is what gives Tabasco its unmistakable kick and legendary consistency. Peppers from all over the world get ground up into mash, right where they're grown. But the next step in their journey is always the same. They're shipped straight to Tabasco's one and only factory on Avery Island, Louisiana, for the most important phase of all aging. So aging the mash in oak barrels, this is where things get really interesting. When the peppers and salt arrive, they get pumped through these massive pipes into giant oak barrels. But not just any barrels, these are actually repurposed whiskey barrels that were once used in the liquor industry. After their first and only round with whiskey, they're given a whole new life at Tabasco. The insides are scraped clean to remove any leftover char or alcohol flavors, so all that's left is pure pepper potential. The mash is pumped in under high pressure, but here's the catch. The barrels are never filled to the top. That's because as the mash ferments, it releases gas and builds up pressure. Overfill it and, well, you get mini mash explosions, which is not exactly the kind of spice they're aiming for. What really makes this aging process so special is the oak itself. These barrels can actually breathe just a tiny bit, letting in a whisper of air that kickstarts natural fermentation. At the same time, they seal out light and excess oxygen to protect the flavor and color of the mash. Once the barrels are filled, the mash is topped with a special paper layer to help prevent discoloration. Then skilled workers hammer iron hoops around the lids to seal them tight. Honestly, it looks simple, but it takes real experience to get it just right. And then comes the salt. A thick layer of salt is poured over the lid, not touching the mash, but acting as a natural seal. If there's even the tiniest invisible crack in the barrel, the salt creeps in and blocks it, kind of like nature's security system. As fermentation begins, carbon dioxide escapes through a small vent, while the salt absorbs any moisture that seeps out and hardens into a second protective seal. Once sealed, the barrels are neatly stacked inside these massive aging warehouses, all organized by country of origin and production year. And now it's time to say goodbye to that mash for quite a long while, because each barrel stays untouched, undisturbed, and unmoved for a full 3 years. At any given time, the warehouse holds about 50,000 barrels of mash. You've got 123 barrels from Colombia, 119 from Guatemala, and 5 from Peru, all just chilling, maturing. Quietly, after 3 long years of aging, it's finally time for the big moment. The mash gets taste tested. By now, all the moisture has evaporated during fermentation, leaving behind a thick, concentrated paste. But don't worry, the heat is still very much alive. First, the salt layer is removed, and the barrel lid is pried open. What used to be a sharp, pungent mash has now mellowed into something richer, smoother, and surprisingly fragrant, but it's not ready to bottle just yet. The mash needs to head over to the main building for the next phase of its transformation. While a lot of hot sauces have ingredient lists that read like a chemistry exam, Tabasco keeps it simple. Just 3 natural ingredients. Media. Close-up of fresh red peppers, salt, and vinegar bottles on table. Simple ingredient shots of peppers, salt, and vinegar. Peppers, vinegar, and salt. Next stop, the blending room. Blending the mash with vinegar, the aged mash is pumped into one of several giant mixing vats where it meets vinegar blended at a 70-30 ratio. Then the mixture is stirred continuously for 3 weeks. That's right, 3 weeks of blending to make sure everything's perfectly infused. The factory goes through about 2 truckloads of vinegar a week, roughly 12,000 gallons, and with 72 mixing tanks running at once, it's a non-stop operation. During this stage, the vinegar helps break down the pepper solids into tiny particles while soaking up all that peppery flavor, aroma, and vibrant red color. There's no cooking involved. Vinegar acts as a natural preservative, no heat needed. One of the secrets behind Tabasco's consistent flavor is blending peppers from multiple countries in each batch. Every tank uses mash from about 12 barrels, often sourced from 3 or 4 different countries. Like a little Colombia, a touch of Peru, some Ecuador, and maybe a splash of Honduras. It's global heat bottled into one legendary sauce. Once blending's done, it's time to filter the sauce. This job goes to a network of stainless steel pipes and powerful machines. First, one machine separates out the pepper pulp, then another filters out the seeds. And just like that, you've got finished hot sauce. Each tank of mash ends up with about 1,000 to 1,500 pounds of leftover solids. But here's the twist. Only about 30 to 40 pounds of that is actual pepper pulp. The rest, just seeds and other extras that don't belong in your bottle of Tabasco. A lot of sauces these days just blitz everything into a puree to save time, but not Tabasco. They stick to their old school method, carefully removing anything that doesn't belong, so you're left with nothing but the purest pepper essence. Now that the sauce is filtered and ready, it's all about getting the texture and tang just right. That's where the quality control team comes in. They pull samples from every single batch to test thickness, salt levels, and a bunch of other details in the lab. Trained technicians also do taste tests, checking for the perfect balance of saltiness, acidity, and of course, heat. Between tastings, they reset their palates with crackers and even ice cream to cool down the burn and stay sharp for the next round. Once a batch gets the thumbs up from the team, it's off to the bottling. Bottling the sauce into glass bottles, the prepped bottles are off on their own little adventure first. Stacks of glass bottles are automatically separated and lined up for the filling line. And yes, glass, not plastic. Why? Simple. Glass is way better at protecting the sauce from oxygen, the #1 enemy that can mess with both flavor and color. Once filtered, the sauce flows straight into the filling machines. Each bottle is filled with precision, down to the exact milliliter, to make sure every single one is perfectly portioned. This high-speed line can fill up to 700,000 of those classic 2 fluid-ounce Tabasco bottles every day. That's about 300 bottles per minute. After filling, the bottles get capped automatically with those iconic red plastic tops, then head down the line for labeling. Tabasco labels are printed in 22 different languages and dialects to match the sauce's global reach. But it doesn't stop there. Each bottle also gets a decorative neckband and a clear plastic shrink wrap over the cap. That shrink seal isn't just for looks. It's a tamper-evident feature, so you know your sauce hasn't been messed with. Once everything's looking sharp, the bottles are boxed up and packed into larger bundles, ready for storage or shipment. Most finished products leave the warehouse within just 3 weeks. From there, hundreds of thousands of cases of Tabasco are shipped out to over 165 countries and territories around the world. This isn't just hot sauce. It's a global phenomenon in a bottle. Ever. Wonder how long a bottle of Tabasco lasts? The answer is actually super simple. Just check the production date and add 5 years. That's the official shelf life. Even after that, it won't go bad or make you sick. But the flavor might start to fade, losing some of that signature heat and boldness. Want to hear something wild? Try this. Just one drop. One drop of Tabasco on a spoonful of vanilla ice cream. Sounds crazy, right? Trust me, 1 drop of habanero on vanilla ice cream. It's an unexpectedly awesome flavor bomb. Eat it straight from the tub, I won't judge. I know that's like a foodie felony, but sometimes breaking the rules leads to something unforgettable. And if you thought that was the last surprise, oh no, we're just getting started. Tabasco and peanut butter? Total sleeper hit. Hardly anyone talks about it, but it's a top-tier combo you need to try. Got a weird or wonderful way to eat Tabasco? Drop it in the comments, we'd love to hear it. Thanks for watching. Hit that Food Tech Today logo to subscribe, and don't forget to check out more spicy content we know you're going to love.